What's up, Doc? It's Peter, aka Pad, your boy, Peter Anthony DeLuca. Anyway, welcome. This is Dream Warriors, and we're at the 31 Days of Dread, the Dream Warriors annual podcast event where we review one horror movie a day and discuss the horror movie for the month of October in celebration of Halloween. So you already hear those noises, you hear those sounds, that music is already queued up. So let's hit those notes and I'll be right back. I'll tell you. Hold up, everyone. Let me. I gotta put on my my headphones for this and grab my coffee because we're back on the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Delights iced coffee. I'm drinking that out of one of my Drexel University mugs, but yeah. So hey, welcome back. Lovely to have you sitting with me again. Maybe some of you are driving. A lot of my friends listen to me while I'm driving, so thank you. Please obey all traffic signals and pick up some alcohol tonight if you're just looking for something to do. Go home. Make yourself a fun cocktail. Like just try something different. But anyway, I normally save that advice towards the end of the episode. But yeah, this is Peter A. DeLuca, aka Pad, aka Pad13 on Instagram and Facebook. Oh man, my brain is scrambled right now. What am I doing? AKA Pad on Twitter and Snapchat. I do one theme a day. It's all kinds of like fun advice and things like that. So if you're into that sort of thing, if you're into more of my thought process, definitely you have to subscribe to me on and follow me on Snapchat. But if you're into Inktober and watching someone go mad drawing while doing the 31 Days of Dread, check out everything I'm doing on Instagram at aka Pat13. But yeah, so the 31 Days of Dread. It's one horror movie a day for the entire month of October. We're at day 21 here. We're at day 21, movie 21. And it's Deep Rising. So going back to last year, there is a through line. So there's a couple through lines that I even established last year. Last year was some of the completely outlier horror movies. Like the Bunny Main Murders. That was a sequel. I didn't even realize it was a sequel. There you go. That movie made me realize how well the Friday and the Nightmare and the Chucky sequels or the Child's Play sequels were in comparison. I wish I could say that about the Puppet Master, but I'm not familiar. I haven't seen Puppet Master in years, and I'm not too familiar with how well they're connected, what the arcs are. I know they go backwards. I know they go into like Nazi Germany, which is like kind of cool. Because who doesn't love Nazi horror fiction? Because we have Overlord coming out, which is a zombie. It's another zombie Nazi horror movie. The other one would be Deep Snow or Red Snow. I'm getting my titles mixed up because we're talking about Deep Rising here. So one of the through lines, like even starting from last year, was these like very outlier cheap horror movies. The other one was movies that were on my list that I just never got around to watching. And towards the later days of the 31 Days of Dread in 2017, it occurred to me that I can use this as like a vehicle to expand my film knowledge and my film understanding by watching movies that I know I should be I know I should see. And two of those movies were like The Hills Have Eyes, the original Part 1, Part 2, and the Universal Studios Dracula. So both of those through lines came right into this year. And last year too, there was also like a focus on Stephen King and David Cronenberg, who I'm a huge fan of both. I'm more of a fan of Stephen King's books than I am his movies. I find his writing far more enjoyable. They're really written by a individual that literally loves cocaine. which kind of makes me, again, this is why Lawrence Taylor is my all-time favorite football player, because he also loves the cocaine. But yeah, so this year, one of our through lines that started last year is Steven Sommers, the director of The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, and Van Helsing. So day 21 is Deep Rising, and day 22 will be Odd Thomas. Both of these movies were just on my list. Odd Thomas a little bit less, because I wanted that Dale versus Evil movie, the young Dale versus Chuck and Dale versus Evil. That and Odd Thomas were both on like my Netflix watch list, kind of like back to back. But the Tucker and Dale, I can't remember the title of that movie, but Odd Thomas was like second to that. But I didn't realize Odd Thomas was directed by Steven Sommers until I until I started researching like what he's been up to. So Deep Rising, how did Deep Rising end up on my watch list? Because it's an obscure movie. It's an off-center movie. It's not a tentpole movie. It's not even a movie that people refer to in its genre to watch. Meaning that you're like, oh, if that's your type of movie, you should watch this. No, but if you're into big monster madness, this is one of the best. And this movie really spun my head. And we're going to talk. And you know what? I actually took notes while watching this, and the notepad's across the it's across the Dream Warrior studio. I may have to stop this real quick, but no. But real quick though, let me just tell you how this movie ended up on my list. And this is so funny because I love that it's there. Because I do breeze through the Wikipedia sometimes before I sit down. So Deep Rising came out in 1998. It really gave Steven Sommers a shot. It's somewhat of a $10 million movie, and it made $50 million. So, it's a home run. Harrison Ford originally was set up to be in this movie, but they gave it to Trent Williams, and it looks like that they dropped the budget. So my sister, one year for Christmas, got me like a subscription to Entertainment Weekly. And probably maybe 97, 98. And I had this subscription literally for years. I had an Entertainment Weekly stack that was almost like out performing my new comics, because believe it or not, even by 98 and 99, I was out of really collecting comics, looking at comics, reading comics. I just wanted to draw comics, and that was my focus. Because and I still maintain that today. It's like you're either busy absorbing the content or you're busy making the content. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts today anymore because I'm always doing Dream Warriors. It's that's a through line for me in my life. Like, that hasn't slowed down at all or changed. So I remember Entertainment Weekly gave this movie it was like almost like a thumbs up. It was like, wow, like that's a weird thing. And they would refer to the movie during the Mummy coverage, which is great because in Wikipedia we have on the other hand, I'm quoting here. I'm quoting Wiki. And pretty soon I'm going to have a quote of a quote. On the other hand, Entertainment Weekly gave Deep Rising a positive review, awarding it a B- and stating that it is a tightly written, often howling, funny aliens knockoff that, in its portrayal of tough men and tougher women under pressure, favorably recalls the work of Howard Hawks. Amazing that they even connected it to Howard Hawks. I mean, that is truly spectacular. And then the rest of the reviews from this movie that Wiki site are kind of like not favorable. So like this is almost like the beginning, right? I mean, so Steven Sommers never really recovered from G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra. That for some reason, like, we want to give Sam Raimi a walk-off excuse for Spider-Man 3. because the studio meddling is so well documented for that. I believe a executive is on the record of saying that they pushed Venom and the symbiote onto into that movie for action figures, and I don't blame them. Sam Raimi should have played ball and should have got into that production quickly. Venom is actually a character that he can well render. Like, it just, like, I don't mean like he's drawing him. I just mean like he can put that character on screen and he can make that character cooler than a cucumber. I do believe Sam Raimi snapped. Within Spider-Man 3, I believe the franchise fatigue got to him as a filmmaker, which is why we give a lot of credit to Michael Bay that he can power through 5 Transformer movies and make an arc. I'm sorry, kids. Michael Bay has made an arc in Transformers, and it's probably better than any comic book arc out there and or a TV show arc or animated 80s. Oh, my childhood, okay? I don't care about you and your childhood. If you have Victoria's Secret models and giant transforming robots and everyone looks hot in the movie, I am sorry. I will watch the movie with the Linkin Park song every day of the week, period, over the cartoon. I haven't seen the cartoon in ages. I tried watching a retrospective of the Transformers cartoon on Nostalgia Critic, and I literally watched about 10 minutes of it, maybe less. It was Optimus Prime. They're so funny with the costumes, though, but Optimus Prime was in like a cloth suit, like on the couch, and I just was like, I'm done with this. I get what you're doing, but no. And so, where is this? So, like, understanding Steven Sommers, it is equally understanding Brett Ratner, the director of Rush Hour. Okay, and and X-Men 3, and also one of my go-to movies. And Michael Bay. Is this our three-headed, are these our 3 horsemen of the cinematic apocalypse, of the blockbuster apocalypse? I mean, they're definitely children from the age of blockbuster that was created with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, with Jaws and Star Wars. Like, we're at a crescendo. We're at a peak with this style filmmaking with these filmmakers. And, the 90s come about, and the 90s create this idea that movies can be cross-platform. Again, started from the Batman movie, Michael Keaton Batman. But, like, these movies now, got into product development. Okay, like these movies alone were products, but they got into product development, meaning they could spin off and bleed into other things, which is kind of funny because look, I just watched I'm going to tease it, Monster Squad is coming finally for the 31 Days of Dread. I'm just sick of people asking me to do Monster Squad. Okay, Monster Squad's coming. Stop trolling me. No, I literally, like, the other, I'm not even joking. I even realized this. Mark and I were at RetroCon. I think I got 5 or 6 DMs just from regular people asking about Monster Squad, and which is weird because we were at RetroCon. But, and if you watch Monster Squad, it's obviously that they're promoting Adidas, Burger King. Burger King too, also big in Back to the Future. Products were in movies during the early mid 80s, and then the late 80s and the 90s rolled around. The movies themselves became products, and the product placement became more intertwined with the story, meaning it was a car someone was driving, or there was actually a scene over like Pepsi or Bud Light or something like that. The product placement got more interesting. Okay, when we go into the 90s, and with the movies becoming products, the rollout, again, I will always reference the Dick Tracy Yellow Summer. It's beyond me that we didn't have a Black October with the Venom movie. Like, I don't understand how Venom isn't merchandised out the eyeballs, but we're in a different age now, and I think it's hurting film because without people like Steven Sommers, okay, and Michael Bay and Brett Ratner. Those three guys alone have funded more independent movies than Harvey Weinstein. And you can say, Pete, how is that possible? Harvey Weinstein ran independent, blah, 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 blah. Okay. These guys are making money so Harvey Weinstein can get a trickle down. Okay. Michael Bay directed Armageddon. That was Disney's biggest thing ever. Biggest production, most money spent. That money made from that movie trickled into Harvey Weinstein's operation, period. Okay, it frees things up. Even though one's Touchstone and one's Miramax, I get it. There are these separate entities, but they're still umbrellaed. Okay, and money does flow. I'm sorry, it's trickle down. If you don't believe in trickle down, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so without Steven Sommers making bank on this movie leading into The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, and the payday for The Mummy Returns was, look, there's a couple sequels in my time that I really remember there being a fever for. The Mummy Returns being one of them. Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, Blade 2, okay, Matrix Reloaded. I will even, obvious one, Star Wars Episode 1. These sequels had such a fever pitch. Iron Man 2 being another one. Okay, there was such a pitch for these movies. It was literally a pot of boiling water frothing over, popping off the top, and going YOLO. So without Steven Sommers and Michael Bay and these other guys understanding the product of the movie and what flows through the movie, when it comes to merchandising. And, and Mummy had some comparable, like, 90s driven action figures. Without, like, these water worlds even getting product lines, and Demolition Man, had a toy line. Without this push, okay, we don't have a trickle down. And if these guys aren't making consumable products while adding characterization, connective continuity threads, experimentation, okay, adding their love into the fabric of the movie. Without Deep Rising, we don't have a lot of movies, period. We do not have a lot of movies. Now, we'll never know what movies stemmed out of the box office of Deep Rising, because it's a hell of a profit. Okay, if you could make the return that Deep Rising made in your own life, meaning you spend a little but you get 4 times back, okay, none of us ever would have financial trouble. But it's not easy, and it's not easy making a movie like Deep Rising. So look, I have a notepad. I'm going to stop real quick, and I'm just going to fade. I'm going to fade this. I'm already doing some of my posts. I'm going to fade this into my notepad, and I'm going to have my notepad when I come back. Way more disciplined with the 31 Days of Dread of maintaining notes and keeping notes as I'm watching some of these movies. And a lot of it is just me, trying to be more professional, trying to be better, trying to add layers to a lot of these movies are just overlooked. And because the movies are overlooked, the filmmakers are, the filmmakers are robbed. They're robbed from attention, they're robbed out of other opportunities, they're robbed out of perception. Now, we never really know. Things could happen behind the scenes that, prevents filmmakers from doing, from moving on with their career. So I don't really know what happens sometimes behind the scenes. I don't act like I know. But sometimes you can draw conclusions that sometimes come off as logical, and sometimes they're illogical, and they're also correct. So there you go. But there's some things we will never know. Look, this movie goes back to 1998. It led into The Mummy. Universal was going into a very experimental phase at that point. Probably like a little bit of a golden era type phase. So we don't really know. But it's interesting. And if you like movies, you're drawn to the the late 80s, the early 90s of Universal, period. Okay, it's something to pay attention to. So this movie's great. This movie opened with like a opening like narration. We had something to read, tells us about the deep, and then it goes into like this first person perspective, which is obviously the creature. So we're already in like like shark mode almost, and and boom, like title reveal. So this movie like moved with a speed that I wasn't anticipating. There was a definite urgency, and while I was like eclipsing the movie, while I was coming through to the end of the movie, I realized that none of our characters are redeemable. These are all criminals. Every single character here is a criminal, even though they portray Trent Williams, who originally was going to be played by Harrison Ford. They play him as kind of a Han Solo-ish, like rogue-ish pirate that is maybe like has a conscience, but it doesn't matter. Like you're a mercenary, you're a pirate, you get paid to do things. And sometimes, like, now at the end of the day, we were finding out that Trent Williams was taking mercenaries with with armed torpedoes to a cruise ship to blow it up so this guy can get his insurance money. That is right. Deep Rising is essentially it's a insurance gimmick movie. That's the plot of the movie. Okay, and now obviously by the time we get to the boat, everyone's dead, everyone's digested, which is fantastic. Signs of things being wrong. We have guys running around, cool looking military guys. So many people in this movie you've seen in a million other movies. And then we have Femke Jensen, Jean Grey. Okay, she is she's trapped in the brig, but it's kind of like the brig's under construction, so she's in a giant refrigerator because there's this giant gala that's on this cruise ship, and she is, oh my god, she looks incredible. She looks incredible in this movie. It's almost like, yeah, how do you not put her in every single movie ever made, period? So she survives the attack and teams up with her rogues, who have already been cut down, because we do have our alien scene, where our tough guys with the cool guns get taken out quickly by a unknown source. I don't really care. Look, we we saw this. We see it in Blade. We saw it in Aliens. We will continuously see this trope in movies, established, created, solidified by James Cameron in the movie Aliens. But not even knocking that. So, and quickly too, what grabbed me in this movie wasn't just the pace, the movement, the ideas being thrown at you. These characters are so quickly defined. Everyone on the boat, like the pirates on the boat, the mercenaries, all of their tics are so quickly defined. It literally spun my head. It blew my mind, because when people say you can't have too many characters in the movie, or this movie has too many villains, shut up and watch Deep Rising, and then go watch Infinity War, and go watch the Avengers, and watch these movies now that focus on other characters. Batman versus Superman. Look how many different characters are in that movie, and different threads that are running through that. I'm sorry, Fast and Furious. I can keep going, but Deep Rising is probably the best template you can always refer back to in establishing tonality of the character, the intent of the intent and the personality of the character. Their objectives are quickly solidified in this movie, and you know who these people are, and you know who to root for, and you know who not to, in a couple seconds. Okay, and this is all in the first 10 minutes. So we've established about 15 characters in 10 minutes, and then we have a pace that is just moving. And then we have a Jerry Goldsmith score, which is probably his most underrated. The score in this movie meld together. They merge together, and is it frustrating that like this guy was Goldsmith was kind of in like, should he be on this movie? Shouldn't he be doing bigger movies? Because I kind of like Goldsmith more than John Williams, and yeah, that's blasphemous too. But Goldsmith did Wrath of Khan, and Wrath of Khan is the best film score ever. It's so good, I have it on vinyl. So eat that. So, and then what happens? We have a boiling down of the mercenaries. We have a revelation of the plot, and now we're split. We have people on the abandoned boat, okay, or like on a the boat is malfunction. So like the boat doesn't work, and we have a cruise ship that doesn't work, and we have people going back and forth, and we have people doing things on the boat, and obviously we know there's going to be like a pecking order. So a chunk of this movie is a revelation of the digestion that they see, because people are just like melted in this one room. Some of the rooms are completely bloody. There's blood everywhere. And then there's like the stalking and slow revelation of the creature. Now, the creature is all CG. It's tentacles. Tentacle was the original title for this movie. And we have a payoff. We see like the creature's head and more tentacles, but that's all we see of it. So we still never see the entire creature in this movie. And that is awesome. So one of my other revelations while I was like watching this movie is that it's definitely a King Kong. It's definitely a Godzilla. This is a giant monster, low budget movie, probably the best. Okay, it is way better than Monsters. I'm sorry, people like to go for that for the ultimate low budget big monster movie. No, Monsters does cool things, but it's not this. This movie is nothing but fun. There's actually a really hot Asian girl too. And she dies. I was upset about that. But her, she's got boobalas in the beginning of this movie that are worth the price of admission alone. And she's so cute. But I forget the actress's name. She's still on television nowadays. I think she's on one of those hospital shows. But yeah, so this movie has like it adds to a genre that was just emerging. Again, like the big monster stuff wasn't really anything. Even the like they didn't know how to handle Godzilla when Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin came in to handle Godzilla post Independence Day. The American audiences and filmmakers didn't know what to do with big monsters. This is one of the best big monster movies that's still not a big monster movie, intended to kind of, again, be this like Lost World. There's a Skull Island type gimmick. And like the movie will never probably be filed under that category, but it definitely is. It is a kaiju movie. I don't know where else you would go with this. But it moves, it's fun. The characters are clear. You root for people to die, which is, again, why do we watch movies like this? And it is tense and it is super action-y and it's super fun. So, I don't know. Like, what else do I have here on my notes? Look, I even wrote down crazy, insane fun. Oh, perfect ending. Should we talk about the ending of this movie? See, like, the movie has kind of like a couple endings. Like, it ends maybe a couple times, okay? The comic relief we think is dead twice. He comes back twice. Amazing. Because I didn't want that guy to die. We think Trent Williams and Femke Jensen are on the desert island by themselves, about to have like the biggest bang session on Earth. But no, that's not the ending. The ending is when the camera pulls away and we see the island, and we see that it's got erupting volcanoes, and it just is a lost world. Okay, they ended up on a secret island. It's a lost world. It's a Skull Island, and there's a ruffling in the trees. And actually, the ending of this is how Lost season 1, episode 1 ended. Like, there's a ruffling of the trees, and we know there's something giant in there, and the camera pulls away, and we see almost like a trail being like knocked around towards them. And I think Trent Williams says something like, like, what is it now? And perfect ending. So the Deep Rising also establishes the through line of perfect ending movies, and I might save it for I did take notes during this. I did say episode 101 was going to be my perfect ending Dream Warriors episode, because we do have multiple movies now, and I kind of want to line them up and go through them. I have to double check one or two movies to make sure they have perfect endings, and I refer to them as perfect endings. So I got a little bit of homework to do for that, but I do, even like right now I'm looking at it, I do have a loose list, and I can't wait. But okay, so look, that's Deep Rising. It's a movie you have to watch. It's available on HBO, HBO Go, HBO streaming. That's how I watched it, because I get free HBO with Comcast. maybe, like, thank you, maybe. Like, it's hard to say thank you for Comcast because my internet was just down. For some reason, 9 a.m., my internet cuts out. Isn't that the craziest thing? Like, every Saturday at 9 a.m., my internet cuts out. It's the weirdest thing. But look, everyone, rock and roll. I love you. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all of the support. It means so much to me. Me seeing the analytics and the numbers coming in, it means a lot. Look, we can only go further. We can only go higher. We can only go through the mesosphere, the stratosphere. We are going past the moon because I'm somewhat convinced Dream Warriors is the only Bastille, the castle on top of the shining hill, the last one left that is really interested in film review. I don't know, but come at me if you don't like this movie. I honestly, God, want to say it. And this goes right into Odd Thomas, and guess what the reviews for Odd Thomas are? I couldn't even go through some of it. I will probably read the Wikipedia reviews of Odd Thomas to you tomorrow, okay, for day 23. Okay, everyone, have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Dallas and I, signing out.